20s is not where you're going to be catching all your biggest L's and where you're going to just be living the time of your life. Your 20s is where you're going to be hitting your head endlessly, time after time, back to back. But you understand that those L's and those adversities is what's going to set you up for the rest of your life. While you're in your 20s, we have this instance or this tendency of rushing ourselves. We have this tendency of thinking that we deserve things right now because we've put in the amount of work which is receptive to our age level, right? Let's say you're 25 years old, you've max put in, let's say, 15 years of work. If you, let's say you started while you were a kid, one of the anomalies versus people who are established in our fields who are probably in the 30s, 40s. Just by nature, they have more time on earth, which means that they've had more, chances to build certain things and create certain opportunities for yourself. Well, their selves that us in our early 20s, mid 20s, even late 20s probably don't have. Our 20s is us learning what's true to us and learning how to do what we do best so we can finally get to those next chapters, right? For example, let's say like we're out here starting businesses. You're posting your content, you're whatever that looks like for you. You do music, sing, whatever. If you use your 20s to focus solely on what you're passionate about, right? You can expect to fail at it miserably, right? You can expect to go after your dreams during your 20s and completely fail. However, that process of failing shows you a lot about yourself. It shows you what businesses and ideas, what songs, pieces of art you did like versus the ones that you didn't. It showed you, when things worked versus when things didn't work. And crazy enough, majority of the times, the only reason why it takes people, all these crazy amounts of years to do certain things is because they're lacking the mentorship to help them get to what they're trying to get to. If you don't necessarily know what to do, if you don't have a blueprint in front of you, you're just going to naturally be hitting your head over and over and over again. And that's why people say, oh, it takes 10 years to establish yourself and do all these other type of things, because that's usually the learning curve, trying to learn how to do something from complete scratch to a point where, let's say, it's monetized, it's out there in the world. People usually say it takes 10 years to really hone in on that skill. But that's only if it takes you 10 years to get a mentor, get somebody who did it before you. Because a lot of times the things that we want to achieve and the things that we want to do in this life has already been done already. Somebody else has already did it. There's a very slight chance that you want to do something that somebody else hasn't already tried to do or wants to do. You get what I'm saying? Now, how far along on that path that they got is always up to, question. We pretty sure there's people who want to go to different stars on the solar systems and stuff like that. I think the furthest we got is Mars. You get what I'm saying? So certain things, I get it, it's an anomaly. But for most things, if you want to start a business, if you want to have a YouTube channel, if you want to, I don't know, do hair, nails, if you want to get into fashion, it doesn't really matter. There's somebody that you can go to and that you can look towards for a little bit of guidance and a little bit of direction on how to keep moving forward, right? So once you view your 20s as a learning period, it's a it's a foundational period in your life where you're bound to fail. Just make sure you're failing at the right things, right? Let's say you are out here and you're just wasting your life. You're just wasting your time. You're talking to a whole bunch of different women, right? You're not really dedicating no time for, passions, finances, family, all these other type of things. You're just smoking up with the homies or the homegirls, going out to clubs, drinking, just trying to have a good time. You're going to mess up trying to have a good time, right? You're going to start drinking, then you're probably going to start drinking and driving. Or you're probably going to just start talking to a whole bunch of people that aren't meant for you, end up getting your heart broke, might catch something, whatever the case may be, right? You're going to F up by nature no matter what you do in your 20s because we aren't competent enough to see all of the holes in the floor, right? We're walking and then seeing the holes as we're walking. We're like, oh, that's a dip right there. What do I do about that? Do I jump over it? Do I just walk over and act like I don't see it? Do I turn around and ask somebody to help me? These are things that we have to learn in the moment. So make sure you're focusing that energy into the right spaces, right? You're going to fail. So at least make sure it's in the business, it's at the content, it's with family, trying to build relationships, partners, intimate connections. I promise you, it's going to show later on in life. And when you're in your 20s, there isn't a lot of things that you can look towards for comparison, right? Because chances are we're usually all in the same predicament, somewhere in the 20s, right? Like some people have results in certain areas that others don't, but the grand scheme of things, most of us are in the exact same positions, right? Whether it's tied to some type of job, whether it's tied to, financial circumstances like living situations, living with parents, heartbreaks, trying to find the partner, trying to find the one. A lot of us are going through a lot of similar things in our 20s, and it's not to if you instill this headspace of this is only happening to me and my life is messing up, you're going to miss the fun and the joy of being able to be this young with the freedom of an adult, but the grace of a child. Because when you're failing in your 20s, people are still going to be like you're a kid. Crazy enough, because I want to be like I'm an adult, I'm a kid, whatever the case may be. But when you run into people older than you, they always be like, man, you're a baby. At least with me, man, you're a baby. You got so much life, you got so much to learn, you got so much to experience. So that, let alone, takes the pressure off of it, right? Because it's not this pressure to succeed, it's not this pressure to exceed. Now, granted, there is people our age who has went crazy lengths, right? Especially with all this internet and rapping and all this other type of stuff. You can get pretty lit pretty fast. But that's not everybody's walk and that's not everybody's path. And some people really had to take the stairs up. And if you're one of those people that had to take the stairs up, I really want you to understand that your patience and grace with yourself is what's going to allow you to get there. You can be, quote unquote, standing in a complete mess right now, but if you're standing in the right mess, it's going to be a beautiful mess once everything unfolds. But you cannot judge that picture before it's done being painted. You have to let the artist, which is God, finish painting that picture for you to completely see all of the colors, all the details, and what the story was actually being told. It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of hard to look at a picture and tell the story in its black and white. It has to be so in detail. Like, you get what I'm saying? The color adds so much life to it and adds so much awareness to what is actually what. Especially if, let's say, it's coming from a time period or a time zone that's not, native to you. They're painting something in the past, right? You aren't aware of, or you don't know what happened in the past. It's the same thing with the future. You don't know what was being painted. You don't know what's being drawn. You're just waiting to see what happens, because the only thing that's really real is right now, is our present. So what are we doing right now? What are we focusing our energy on right now? What are we directing our energy towards right now? And that is what's going to manifest blessings, money. Yes, I know a lot of you guys want money. So money, that's what's going to manifest the money. It's not trying to get it perfect now. It's laying the foundation now so you can do it effortlessly later. Fail fast. I told my cousin this, and it's been helping me so much with content. Fail faster. Make as much as you can. Do as much as you can. Get aggressively passionate in whatever you want to do. If I'm going to fail, this was going to be an L that I take regardless. So I'd rather get the L out the way and move on. I'm going to just raise the level of value. And that, let alone, it shapes everything, because too many of us are scared of the L. Too many of us are scared to fail. So let's say you had to learn a total of 10 lessons, right? There was 10 lessons you needed to learn for where you stand in your journey. 10 unique lessons. But you were so scared of failing that once you failed once, you were hesitant to walk again because you didn't want to take the second L, because you were so scared of taking an L. You would have stayed right here and you would have never went through the 10 lessons that you needed to get through to actually get there. But if you fail fast, you just start, boom, fail. What's the next one? Oh, cool. Boom, fail, 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 fail. Nope, I still don't care. Fail, fail, fail. Oh, let's turn up. Fail, fail. Ooh, whoa. That wasn't a fail. Turn back. That actually worked. And that's usually how that goes. You have to figure out what does and does not work for you in your path. And that's an energy thing. That's a mindset thing. That's an environment thing. That's a craft thing. Some environments aren't going to be for you. Some of you guys need to move, like, completely. Some of you guys need to completely switch your geographic. Some of you guys need to switch passions, need to switch career fields. Some of you guys need to switch lovers. Some of you guys need to switch a lot of different things. But you have that ability to switch in your 20s. Also, don't have a child. If you already have one, that is a blessing. You brought life into the world, and it is literally a privilege to be a parent, right? It is an amazing character development. That's what I want to say. I feel like that's amazing character development, and just motherhood, fatherhood, etc. But if you don't have a child, don't get one. Don't 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 bring a child into your fuck up years. Don't do that. Don't do that. Wait. I would suggest waiting. Now you can do what you want because I've seen people do crazy things, and life is always up to your own perception. But typically in your 20s, you're still learning yourself and you're still trying to figure out who you are. And if you bring a child into the equation, if you want to have a healthy household, it's probably going to take a lot of time, or it's going to take your attention off of things if you aren't set in your foundation, which is why I say also fail fast. Because if you're somebody like me who wants to have a family and all these other type of things, it would be in your best interest to fail fast. Because if you can set your foundation in life faster by just having the humility to F up quicker and learn quicker, you'll be able to experience other things in life quicker, right? The stability of having, like a two-parent household, actually staying with your partner, like damn near marrying them if you guys didn't already get married, and then having a child. Being able to have a child and you're not worried about the bills being paid, and that you can take care of this child because you prioritized the other important aspects of your life in your 20s and early teens to set up that type of environment. A lot of people are going to have children before they set up that type of environment, and it's going to make it harder for them to be parents, which by nature is going to impact that child's trajectory and that child's growth, which may impact that child's life, and it's just so forth and so on. Not child, but generational trauma gets passed down very easily when you don't allow yourself to be a kid and learn. When you don't allow yourself to be a young adult, because I think that's probably a better word for this. We're not kids, we're young adults, right? We're young men and young women. And there's a reason why there's a young in front of it. There's certain level of maturities. That's like there's just certain things we have to grow, learn, see, and experience before it would be a safe call to say you are ready to pass that on to a child, do something from scratch. Now, once again, you can do it whenever you want to because we've already been doing it, but I think y'all should listen to me on this one. It'll save y'all some time, it'll save y'all some focus. Like, imagine being broke right now in your 20s and you had a child. There would not be no you would have to I remember there's times with my cousin, right? For instance, he's 35, I think, 36. There's instances where he can't film, he can't do content, he can't do all these other type of things that would potentially probably make him some money because he has children. So as a man and as a father, his priorities is where it needs to be, spending time with his children, spending time being a present, you know, active father in their life. So he has to sacrifice the time, the extra hours, the extra, days of, possibly not going to work all day and investing time into something a little bit more important. Or, going part time and, starting that business up. He really has to sacrifice in certain areas, his work and children, because I really don't have the space to do that. Because if I cut down on the work, that means we cut down on money, which means my children suffer. So that the work has to stay right there because now there's somebody under you. But if you don't have kids, you can move a little bit freer. You can make plays. You can go broke and get it back. You can go invest your money into equipment, into content, into cameras and mics and stuff. You can invest your money into these things and be a little bit risky and bet it on the come up, bet it on the back end because you don't have things tied to you. That's also like staying with your parents, right? This video right here, I'm back in my room. It's for a reason. It's quiet. This is my zone. You feel me? So I come back here. When I really want to batch and just get away from the world and everything is silent, I come here. Why? No rent. I don't have to pay anything. Foods here. That's another key thing. Remember to live under your means. People are going to make you feel crazy for staying at your parents. People are going to make you feel crazy for staying with your family. But like I say in so many of my other videos, when you run into wealthy individuals, they're not kicking their kids out at 18. They're damn near saying you can live here until I pass away because it's yours anyways. So what do I look like kicking you out of something that's going to be gave to you in a will or trust anyways? That sounds kind of crazy, you know? But when you grow up in the hood, when you grow up in survival mode or anything like that, you typically get that you're 18, get a job, pay some rent, or get out, right? Which I get it because our parents or their parents, because my mama didn't do that. My daddy tried, but yeah, mama wasn't cutting it. It's also because they're struggling, right? And they want help. So they're trying to instill the principle of being adult onto you, which is, in other words, slowing you down because you shouldn't be responsible for paying your parents' rent. I'm just being honest with you. Unless you have, once again, the financial means to do so, like you really hit that, none of your parents' bills or responsibilities should be your responsibilities until you can literally take care of yourself. You get what I'm saying? So all of these things is just a learning lesson for me, you, all of us, the ones who's going to eventually be 20s, ones who's came before us and have already went through this. There's a lot of things that's going to get put on you by society, your parents, and everything else, even yourself. But it is very important. It is the most important to stay focused on the things that you actually want. Set important goals. Prioritize the important things in your life, right? Like what I was saying, family, love, money, passions, God, of course. But it's crazy because I want to start saying God more, but I feel like these things are like self-explanatory. Any man or woman should be rooted in God. That's how you become aware of your passions, become aware of your interests, become aware of intuition, all these other type of things. So I can make a whole nother video about that, let alone. But the not the monetary, but the physical realm goals. Focus your attention on those and the positive ones, and you'll have some amazing years in your 30s. You might even have them quicker than you think in your 20s, depending on how aligned and how focused you can become on being the person that you want to become. It's not easy, but it's also not that hard because all it is unlearning and doing different things. It's not that hard to do something different. It's hard to get your emotions out of the way to actually do it. So, with that being said, I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. Keep being great. Stay blessed. And I'm going to see you on the next video. Peace.